non-negotiables. If you have questions about the medical issues, and there are many questions, should one disclose a medical issue, and when was done one disclose it, we can talk about that. But let's just make the map first. I would say the first non-negotiable, what would you say? What's the first non-negotiable? You're dating someone, you met them a few times, what's the first question to ask? I would say attraction. I would say there must be a chemistry, you must like the person. Physically, there must be a certain chain, enjoying being with them. Not a logical thing. You like pink, I like blue. It's a question of taste. And this is very important. And one of the classic errors we see in this area, and again, speaking to people who work in this field, one of the classic errors we see in this area is in the Baal Tshuva world. People who are newly religious, brought up in a secular mode, and they think to become religious means becoming very spiritual, and the material and the physical should be ignored. It's a serious mistake. One young man many years ago said to me, "Can we please talk about the young lady that he's dating?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." Told me she was very spiritual and the way she said to him, she could have been Mrs. Mashiach. This lady was. So after he told me all about her wonderful qualities, I said to him, "Do you like her?" And he said, "No." I said, so religious that he wanted to marry, but a woman is a spiritual being, but she's also a material being. And marriage has that side, very important. Marriage is hard at the best of times. And therefore there needs to be a natural attraction. The Gemara says, especially for men, a man marries a woman, should see her beforehand and contract a marriage on paper alone. For women also it's important, it's less important. Women are considered to be more mature in understanding the meaning of a relationship. They'll put up with more or less, not sure which, but they'll find meaning in a relationship when a man might not be mature enough to do so. But it's important, and by the way, again, for people who work with young people, it's also important to know, people need the discipline to know that after marriage, also pay attention to your appearance. There's a young man, he's looking good, he's dating. He's dating for the first time in 18 years, he's wearing a clean shirt, smelling like a flower. The trouble is, after marriage, sometimes that changes, shape starts to change subtly. That's not respectful. If you make yourself look good before marriage, you have to make yourself look good afterwards. Women are often guilty of the same thing. They look stunning before marriage, and then a few days after marriage, when they go out, they look wonderful, but at home, they look like something the cat dragged in. That's not respectful. If you make yourself look nice beforehand, you have to make yourself pay attention. Shlomo Zalman was in his 80s, used to make himself look nice when he walked up the stairs to his home, his wife's home. That's respectful, and you have to do that as well, of course. So attraction, very important, and it needs to be there. We put it first because it's easiest to assess. You meet a person a few times, not necessarily once. Sometimes a person grows on you. But if you meet a person a few times, you need to feel that there's an attraction. Many people ask, how attractive? As a person, you have to look at the person and, get sort of life-threatening asthma. So it's a mild breathlessness. That's a good sign, right? At least. How attractive the person has to be, I'm not sure it's so important. You change with time. Pregnancy changes you, age changes you. But I think it has to be positive. Person, there's a red line in this area too. Below the red line, person, you'd feel offensive, you wouldn't want to be close to the person. Above the red line, you feel positive, you could be close to them. I think it needs to be positive. Not necessarily, there'll always be somebody more attractive, but I think it needs to be positive, and I think this needs to work on both sides, male and female. I remember a young lady who very anxiously knocked at my door one Saturday night. What's the problem? She told me she's getting married in 8 days' time, Sunday a week, and she feels now that the time is approaching. She's not sure she could be close to her husband physically. She respects him as a wonderful person, but she's been putting this aside, and it's a problematic area. So I said to her, you think about it now, and you make a commitment now. You decide now you're going ahead with this and you never look back, or you call it off now. And she sat there at my table, she agonized over it for a long time and decided to get married. They got married, they got divorced on their wedding night. She felt she couldn't go home with him. That was the end of the marriage, not good. One young man came to see me a couple of weeks after marriage, looking very depressed. Can't live with his wife, he can't be close to her. I said, why not? She doesn't look like my mother. I said, what? He said, he always wanted to marry a girl who looked like his mother. We knew, my wife and I were close to his wife. She was a very lovely girl, very attractive, very special. I said, why did you marry her? He said, my rabbi said it would be okay. Problematic. If you work with people, you cannot take responsibility. You're working with a person, you're a shadchan, you're a mentor, you teach people, you work with people. The young couple must take responsibility, young, whatever age they are. If they don't put their commitment into it, if they don't take responsibility, they marry because you say it will be okay. At 3 o'clock in the morning when things are difficult and it's not okay, and they're not committed because they never made the decision, you can't do that. You can guide and you can show clarity and crystallize issues, but they need to take responsibility. It's true occasionally you